I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's webcast. It's Wednesday, April 21st, and there's some news from the Middle East and from Europe. Do you remember the other day when we talked about Great Britain criticizing Israel for its tourist poster? And then just a few hours later, here came all the ash from Iceland. You remember that? The volcanic ash? Well, another website has picked up on it, and here's what they've said. The flights that are now going are 1 in 6. That is 4,000 out of what used to be 25,000 flights operated across Europe on Sunday. The flights canceled since last Thursday, 63,000. The British citizens stranded in Western Europe, 750,000. And the British stranded in the rest of the world, 250,000 for a total of 1 million. And then it cost, so far, it cost the Great Britain, or the UK, over $1 billion. All because they said, hey, Israel, you can't do that. We want you to pull that ad and stop telling tourists to come over there and see Qumran and see the Western Wall, and that you can run back and forth across Israel in 6 hours. So God shut down their tourism big time. I'm sorry, I think that's funny. But you got to understand, you don't poke a finger in God's eye, and Jerusalem is the apple of God's eye. All right? You don't criticize Israel and get away with it, because there's a God in heaven who owns the land. Now, let me just read what this says. The British ASA canceled Israel's tourism ad on April the 9th, which was followed by devastation to their air travel and tourism. The complainant objected that the ad was, that is, the British, complained that the ad was misleading because it gave the impression that Qumran was in the state of Israel when in fact it was in occupied West Bank. And this lady in the British Tourism Office, she pointed out that the status of the occupied territories and the borders of Israel were the subject of considerable international controversy, and that the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office advised against travel to the occupied territories. So, if all you British people want to go over to visit Israel, you can't go to Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. You can't go to the Western Wall, because that's in occupied territory. The assessment upheld. The British Advertising Agency Authority was concerned by ThinkIsrael.com's lack of response and apparent disregard for the code, which was a breach of the CAP Code, Clause 2.6. We reminded them of their obligations under the code and told them to respond promptly in the future. We noted that the ad promoted a website that made clear that tourists could visit Qumran as a part of the itineraries offered. We considered, however, that the image of Qumran, in conjunction with the claim, quote, you can travel the entire length of Israel in 6 hours, end quote, implied that Qumran was in the state of Israel. We noted Qumran was in the occupied West Bank, not the state of Israel, and considered, therefore, that the ad was misleading. Okay, go ahead, you British people. Think that Israel's tourism ads are misleading. It just cost you $1 billion over the last few days. Oh, excuse me. Well, British pilots have called for a bailout. They said, if you're going to bail out the banks, you might as well bail out the airline industry. Volcanic ash, relentless as tremors, rock island. Here's an email I got. Hello, J.R. Church. I read the article about the rain in Israel in the March magazine. Thought it was such a great article. I used Google Earth and noticed that it seemed to be green only where the Jews live. You got it, my friend. It certainly does. Also, I noticed a pertinent passage in Zechariah. Zechariah 10:1 says, ask ye of the Lord rain in the time of the latter rain. So the Lord shall make bright clouds and give them showers of rain to every one grass in the field. And David says, I love your daily broadcast, and I share what I learn with friends. Your ministry is really a shining light. Thanks, David. God bless you and all the rest of you who watch our program every day, especially our webcast. And we're trying to get our website finished. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but we've got a lot on our plate right now, and we're kind of down on our staff, numbers of our staff that know how to do this sort of thing, and so we just got a lot piled on our plate. Hope you'll be patient with us. We'll get the website up and going as soon as possible. Want you to know, though, that our May issue of the Prophecy in the News magazine is out in the mail. And on the front cover here, we have the Arch of Titus in Rome, and then we have the fresco that's inside the Arch of Titus with the Jewish slaves in AD 70 carrying the menorah. And the point of this article is Psalms 111 through 117 have a menorah design. And this is a picture of the menorah that's been built by the Temple Institute and is on display until the day that Israel rebuilds the temple and begins using that lampstand. We also have an article called The Power of Words, and this is on the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, who experimented with the molecular structure of water and how it can be affected by words, blessings versus curses. His findings were remarkable, and this shows the various pictures. This shows a picture of cooked rice, how curses were put on one and blessings on the other every day. Every day he'd pick this up and say, I love you. And every day he'd pick that one up and say, you fool. And after 30 days, the cursed jar turned completely black with rot, and the other one still viable. And so it's a fascinating series of articles in this magazine. Gary has a neat article called The God Particle. It's about the Hadron Super Collider in Geneva, Switzerland, and how that it has reached some of its potential these past few weeks as they have collided protons looking for the God particle. And Gary has a really neat article here on it, so you'll want to look that up. And then, of course, our Eschatology 101 article on the secrets of Psalm 90, right back here, the secrets of Psalm 90. If you don't have this, or if you don't subscribe to our magazine and you know you're not going to be getting this, you may want to call and order this. It's $2.95. Just call 1-800-475-1111. And hey, why not subscribe for the next year? Subscribe for the next year. I'll send you 4 free books. That's a $48 value. We're talking books with nearly 300 pages each, not booklets, all right? And we'll send you either 4 free books or 3 free videos, lectures that I gave before a live audience at prophecy conferences, or we continue our studies in Daniel on DVD. So I hope you will. Just come on, get your subscription in and start supporting our ministry, will you? We need your help. We need to go on other stations. We need to expand our broadcast. We need to hire more people to help us. All right? So, thank you for watching today. By the way, keep praying for me. I feel pretty good today. I'm taking special IV injections every other day, and then by mouth in the days that I don't take the IV injections. It's powerful medicine that's supposed to help get rid of the tumors, and we'll see what happens. Just keep praying for me because cancer is still there. All right? Feel just a little bit of pain right back here. Pray that it'll go away today, will you? And then I can come and tell you tomorrow, thank you for your prayers today, because tomorrow when I say today, the pain is gone. I'd love to be able to say that. So when the broadcast ends in just a second, you take time to pray for me, will you? God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow with our analysis of the news.